The Psychology Group, a group project for Mrs. Scarborough's college transfer success class. As long as human beings have been a species on planet Earth, there have been crazy people. Maybe crazy isn't the word we use for describing them, because it has been considered offensive by today's standards. We may call them exceptional or eccentric. Some of them are called unique or special, but they all fall under the umbrella of abnormal. Thanks to psychology, they can be helped, and our group, the psychologists, is the one to help them. Part 1. The World of Psychology. The world of psychology is an exciting and interesting one. It is not just a science, but an entire way of life, because no two people can subscribe to the exact same branch of psychology. In fact, there are virtually limitless different schools of thought for psychology. Some examples of these schools of thought are developmental psychology, the study of how a person's mental functions change from the beginning of their life until the end of it. Behavioral psychology, which is based on the theory that our personalities are not inherent, but are actually acquired and learned. Abnormal psychology, the branch of psychology that observes strange behavior and is the most widely clinical form of psychology. And about 100 more, each with its own particular subjects and theories, but in the interest of time, I will not discuss every single one of them. As time marches onward, the book of psychology is rewritten and changed in order to keep up with modern times. As new psychotic disorders are recognized, such as autism and depression, other terms are dropped from the spectrum altogether, such as manic depression and retardation. The way to keep up with them is by continuing to read the constantly updated book, which is like a psychologist's personal Bible. The DSM, or, as DSM stands for, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. This book, which actually may be longer than the Bible, has been around since psychology was even invented. Speaking of psychology being invented, how was psychology invented? Part 2. How was psychology invented? Psychology used to be a branch of philosophy, but was not considered a separate science until the late 19th century. Their methods of discovering the human psyche were not very informative, and are considered insane by today's standards. For example, the Greeks thought a person's psychological health was determined by bodily fluids called humors, which represented earth, wind, and fire. A discrepancy in these humors were often thought to be the reason a person experienced emotional discomfort. Another example of the ill-informed quackery of the ancient mysticism was that people believed they were possessed by evil demons, who wanted to take over the soul of the host body. Since the Catholic Church was a large part of the governing body, this belief was not only unquestioned, but it was considered the honest, unquestionable truth, or else. People had been subscribing to similar theories until only the 19th century. Even in America, people were burned at the stake and stoned in the streets for being thought to be heretics or possessed. Thankfully, when psychology was considered an actual science, the subject was taken a little bit more seriously thanks to a little process that is used by all scientists for every experiment ever. You may have heard of it. It's called the scientific method. Other psychologists who have used the scientific method include Sigmund Freud, Wilhelm Wundt, Piaget, Noam Chomsky, B.F. Skinner, Carl Rogers. These people all offered some kind of great contribution to the world of psychology, and they helped us write the book on how to not only spot crazy people, but actually figure out how to predict the actions most people would make in most situations. Psychology, at its core, is not so much about curing the insane, but studying the actions and attitudes of those around us. The best part is that psychological principles are still being written today, and will continue to be written until humanity ceases to exist. This has been a brief introduction to the subject of psychology, as well as a brief history of the subject as well. My name is Jordan Madama, and I approve this video. Please enjoy the rest of this group project as my other group members say some more stuff about the actual job. Alright, how do I turn this stupid?